Hi, I'm Tom Burcot. I'm a professor at James Cook University in the Australian Institute of Tropical Health and Medicine. We're here today to talk about the grant that we got from the Queensland Far North Queensland Foundation, which is to support some activity to try to control the Asian tiger mosquito, which was introduced into the Torres Strait and trying to prevent this mosquito, which is a dengue vector, potential Zika and chikungunya vector, from invading the mainland of Australia. Now, Queensland Health has a cordon sanitaire right now to prevent the migration, the movement of this mosquito into mainland Australia, but it's a rather expensive program. It's been effective thus far, and so what we're doing is gathering basic information about the biology of this mosquito to try to find out if the potential of using a toxic sugar bait to attack the sugar-feeding habits of this mosquito as a way of suppressing and hopefully eliminating this species from the Torres Strait. There's been some work going on in, there's a large project that I'm involved with in Africa, in Mali, Kenya, and Zambia, looking at using this to control malaria, and there's been some research done in the United States looking at albopictus and some of the others, Aedes as well. So really the potential of this technique is really understanding how frequently the mosquito takes a sugar meal, and then what you do is you can have an attractive sugar bait that you create in which you put an oral toxin. So instead of the mosquito feeding on a flower or some other natural nectar source, it comes to your sugar bait, ingests the sugar meal with the toxin, and then is killed. This mosquito has a justly deserved reputation for being a very significant vector. It's responsible for a number of outbreaks of dengue, particularly most recently in the Solomon Islands. It's also it's a huge vector of chikungunya in Europe. It's potentially a vector of Zika virus. And it's really what scares a lot of people, and obviously I'm a Yank, and having lived in Atlanta, Georgia, this mosquito is a horrific pest. It really will keep you from going outside and enjoying your backyard. It grows to incredible numbers. It takes advantage of natural containers where we provide larval habitats for it, as well as tree holes and other natural sources where they can lay its eggs. So it grows to incredibly dense numbers. It's a very aggressive mosquito. It's not a pleasant animal at all. It's not someone that you want to have as your neighbor. This is really the start of this research in Australia. I mean, we're involved in some projects overseas that are using sugar baits in large consortium, but this is the first attempt to use this strategy in Australia. So this sort of the support that we're getting from the foundation is really critical for laying the groundwork to determine the potential of this sort of strategy. There's been some preliminary work on looking at sugar baits for Aedes. Programmatically, it hasn't been scaled up yet, so we're hoping to get we're sort of a quasi-early adapter of this strategy, its potential is really may vary from one ecology to another. And so again, this is really trying to ask the question, is this a strategy that's worth pursuing? Well, I think one is that we know a little bit about the biology of this mosquito. We know a little about its densities. The preliminary results we're getting right now in the Torres Strait suggests that albopictus does frequently feed on sugar, so it's going to be looking for sugar meals. We know where it's a bit about its natural distribution. So we have some idea now about how we could target the sugar bait. And then it might be a matter of crafting the sugar bait that really addresses the visual and olfactory the cues that this mosquito is looking for. So we can sort of attract the mosquito to the bait and have a bait that will draw the mosquitoes in from a distance. Well, the money will be used a lot. Obviously, doing field work is expensive, and we got to get people up there to work with the local communities. This is a project that really needs to engage with the local communities up there. They have to understand what we're trying to do, and so it's going to allow our teams to go up there to work with the communities, to work together to understand the biology of these mosquitoes, and then hopefully to roll out a intervention.